From the campus lights to the game day fight, Texas dust on the boots, packed out stands in the sun. Every school has a story, every season has one. Turn it up, lean in close, hear that crowd start to roll. The Cory Hogue Sports Show, the Cory Hogue Sports Show. Big stories and real conversations, bring the truth, let it roll. The Cory Hogue Sports Show, the Cory Hogue Sports Show. For the schools beyond the spotlight, where the heart of the game still shows.
This is the Cory Hogue Sports Show, episode number 5. Building up pretty quick when you do it a few times a week. It is July 20th. It's another one of those Mondays. Before we get into things here, I want to alert you to my Substack, CoryHogueSports.substack.com. Today I released I published a story on sponsorship and licensing numbers from the FCS, and it's pretty interesting stuff. You want to stay tuned. Right now, if you're a subscriber, a paid subscriber, you can read it. Free subscribers, you get it a few days later. It will be unlocked in a couple of days. But being a paid subscriber, you get this stuff first, and there's more coming. I've got stuff coming, more about finance stuff here this week. We'll touch some more on FCS, what it costs to have a football program, some of those things, and how much does it cost for the athletic departments. Got some numbers to break down from some other NCAA data that I've pulled off the website, and we're going to do some of that. And then that's Wednesday. That's coming Wednesday. Thursday, Division II. Does it pay to have football? We're going to have a post on this. Might be interesting to you. Definitely some good things coming. Go like, subscribe, follow everything you can to Cory Hogue Sports at substack.substack.com. Social media, Cory Hogue Sports at CoryHogue Sports. If you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook or on Substack, you can see how to spell it at the top of the screen. If not, again, it's CoryHogue Sports. Really appreciate you all listening. And if you need to email me, you know someone who might be interested in sponsor. Maybe you are interested in sponsoring parts of the show or parts of the pieces, what we release, things like that. Get a hold of me, CoryHogueSports@gmail.com. This money is used to do some of the things that's coming up here over the next few days. So let me get you here in a minute. We'll get to an updated schedule of what's going on for the next couple weeks. But first, I always like to start the show with an update on how I'm doing with the effort, the attitude, the response, and the no excuses, never quit that it takes to be successful each day, to win each moment of each day. And in the end, you win enough of those moments, you win enough of those days, success follows you at the very end. Whatever goal it is you're striving for, that's how you reach it. I was reading a book by Robert Greene, Laws of Humanity, I believe it was. It talked about how you have to embrace the mundane. When you find what some people call it a calling, whatever it is, whatever you do. For me, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in non-FBS world. I'm supposed to be doing these shows. It's not about success, fame, fortune, money, none of that stuff. It's about giving the stories and the attention to these people and coaches and players and teams that just haven't gotten it. That's what I'm here for. But one thing that is tough is the mundane, those tedious tasks, those things you have to do over and over. And it doesn't matter what your job is. It doesn't matter what you do. There are always those tedious tasks. Those you have to embrace. Because look, media days are fun, right? Those are fun to do. I love media days. Scheduling everything, getting up, getting ready, getting notes, all that stuff. It's mundane, right? There's some tediousness to it, but you got to love doing that as well. You got to embrace that stuff. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm really focusing on embracing some of those things that you're just like, my goodness, I got to do this again. That's part of it. And that's part of what if you start finding joy and finding satisfaction in those, it will help you with your effort, your attitude, your response, and your ability to not make excuses or quit. I do want to tell a couple of things real quick. I have missed during the break that I took and to get away and to kind of reset and find myself in different things. I've missed a lot of information. Still getting caught up. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for me to fully get caught back up into where I am. My brain is still kind of flitting around sometimes about some of this stuff. So look, and I'm human. So if you hear mistakes, see mistakes, let me know. Keep me up on it. Let me know. I want to make it correct. I want everything to be true. That's what you've come to expect. And that's what I want to provide you. Okay. Next couple of weeks, pretty busy. This show is scheduled to air Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for at least the next 2 weeks. March to the Pod will return on Thursday night. We're going to start Thursdays instead. We're moving it one day forward. Thursdays at 6 p.m. will be March to the Pod, and it is returning this week. Partly because Conference USA Media Days are happening today and tomorrow in Arlington. I will be there tomorrow morning for the Conference USA to get some content for the March to the Pod Substack. If you're interested in Sam Houston information, what I've got over there, also some things there about licensing, release that today, marchtothepod.substack.com. Those are the two places. March to the Pod and this show, Cory Hogue Sports, is where you're going to find information. And all you're going to find it on is non-FBS and Sam Houston. That's where I've narrowed it down to. That seems to be the sweet spot right now. We'll see how that works out. So I'll be in Arlington tomorrow. So some stuff will be coming on March to the Pod. I will be back here Wednesday for a show. Thursday, I've got a medical appointment, so I will not be able to attend the Lone Star Conference Media Day in McKinney this year. But I will definitely keep track and follow some of those things and bring some of that stuff to you on Friday, which I have a show scheduled to have a show on Friday as well. And then next week, next Thursday, July 30th, something I've been wanting to do for years now is get to a Southwestern Junior College Football Conference Media Day. It's one I have not done. They have it. I have not been there. Well, I'm going to fix that. Where I'm headed to Bullard, Texas for their media day on July 30th. Get a chance to talk to the coaches, to have lunch, see some great people, and really enjoy this conference and get to know more of these people, more about this conference that I've just come to really enjoy watching and really enjoy covering. And so I will be there, and I will be bringing content on my Substack and on the show from these things that I will be doing over the next couple of weeks. So it is busy. It is a busy time, and that's all right. Today, we're going to continue our predictions. By the way, if you want to know where our predictions are going, today is the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. Wednesday will be the Southern Athletic Association, and Friday I will have my Lone Star Conference predictions. Next week, I'm getting into the 3 FCS conferences, the Southland, the SWAC, and the Unison, I think it's called now. United Athletic Conference, the ASUN merges, Unison. It hadn't been the smooth-ish branding yet, and I get it. It's not easy. So we'll see how that, and those will be predictions will be coming out over the next 2 weeks. So through the end of July, we have conference predictions every single show. And today, it is the SCAC. They're going to have 6 football programs this year. Now, remember, McMurray is gone, and Schreiner has also departed. They're to the American Southwest Conference. But the SCAC, while I was on a break, quietly to me, because I was on a break, added Gallaudet. Gallaudet is located in Washington, D.C. Doesn't really fit the football profile of the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference with teams in Texas and Arkansas and the championships in Arkansas. But you got to have 6. to keep your membership, to keep your playoff eligibility, you got to have 6. And if this is the only way that the commissioner, Dwayne Hanbury, could keep that automatic playoff bid intact, then you know what? There's worse things than flying to Washington, D.C. The thing about Gallaudet is, while it's not ideal, it is a plane flight, but that flight is directly into an airport. They have the airport there. It's going to be, as far as travel goes, it's workable. It's going to be expensive. But then again, Lone Star Conference still travels up to Western Oregon, Central Washington. That's just the way it is today. You got to do what you can to keep your conference automatic playoff bids intact. So Gallaudet joins. They're a football-only affiliate. So that they won't be traveling for basketball or anything else. It's football only. They still have enough to keep automatic bids in the other sports. Now, this year especially, and maybe in future years, we'll see, Gallaudet will not play a traditional conference schedule. Instead, the Bison will be seeded for the SCAC Championship Weekend, which is something they started last year. They meet up at the War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, and they have their conference championship weekend, and they have 3 games. They have, 5 and 6 play, 3 and 4 play, and then 1 and 2 finish it off, and that's the championship. Whoever wins that game will then will receive the automatic bid into the Division III playoffs. So how's Gallaudet going to do this if they're not playing the other schools? They're going to use the NCAA Power Index to put them according to their ranking. So that's where they'll be seated according to where they fall within the conference, I'm guessing, on their Power Index, the NCAA Power Index. If that's what you got, and schedules are already set, instead of breaking contracts and all this other jazz, that's fine. That works, right? It's not ideal for this year, but, you got to do what you got to do to make it work. You got to do what you got to do to try to have enough teams and to keep your automatic bid, as I've mentioned before. All 6 teams will play at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. This year, it's on November the 14th. And like I said before, the automatic playoff bid will go to the teams that finish, or whoever wins the championship game, which is the last game of the evening. Now, how do I predict this to go? I got predictions all the way through. Let's get into it. Number 1, Texas Lutheran. Neil LaHue is entering his 5th year. He's 21-20 overall, all of those at TLU, but they still remain the most complete team in the conference. They won all 5 of their regular season games last year, averaged more than 440 yards per game, defeated their conference opponents by an average of nearly 25 points before McMurray, in a very well-played game, took them down in the championship game. Quarterback Caden Basenko, I believe he returns for his final season. And TLU also brings back a veteran roster. So, listen, they're going to be tough. They've got several members of defense that should be among some of the best in the league. And they've got a very good schedule for this. Their games against Hendrix and Centenary are at home. Austin College and Leon must each play Texas Lutheran twice. Those are very winnable games for TLU. Considering the scores last year when they beat Austin College 55-7 and Leon 54-10, Hendrix is going to be a challenge, but they have that just one time. Question for the Bulldogs: can TLU finish the job in Little Rock this year? That's the only goal they have to have right now. Now, to get there, you've got to win each of these games, but let's face it, TLU is looking at that championship game and a trip into the Division III playoffs. At number 2, who will TLU be playing, in my opinion, in the championship game? How about the Warriors from Hendrix? Buck Buchanan, he's a mainstay there. 14 years, he's 63-62 at the school. He led the modern resurgence of the Hendrix program since they returned to football in 2013. And they've got enough talent. They might be the only team with enough talent to seriously put a threat into TLU. Last year, they finished 4-2. Their only league losses, TLU and McMurray. Those were not bad losses last year. Both of those teams obviously reached the championship game. The offense is very dangerous at Hendrix. They've got young, skilled talent. The defense has a strong foundation, and they play Austin College twice. They have to travel, though, to Texas Lutheran. That's one that October 17th game in Seguin will determine likely if they're the top seed or the 2 seed when they get to War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. The biggest question, though, is they did lose some production on offense. They've been explosive. Can they replace enough to win another potential shootout? Last year, their game against TLU ended up 50-48. To have enough offense or defense to win a shootout like that, can they do that? Third place, up for grabs. The rest of these spots are really up for grabs in the SCAC this year. I've got Austin College coming in third. I am a believer in Tony Joe White. He does nothing. He's in his 4th year with the Kangaroos, but this man does nothing but take schools and win with them and turn them around. Tough situations. He's 41-44 overall, 6-23 at Austin College. But remember, he took Birmingham Southern and led them to a 35-21 record in 6 seasons. They were out, and then before they shut down, he had Birmingham Southern as a danger. They were a threat. Teams didn't want to have to play them. I think year 4, he's starting to build that, where I think we're going to start to see the Roos starting to look a little more like Birmingham Southern. They won 3 games last year. They improved from 2 wins. They're getting better. They return a lot, and that is going to be a key. The problem for Austin College is that they play TLU and Hendrix twice, and that's 4 games against the top 2 teams, in my opinion, in the league. So they're going to need to sweep Leon and defeat Centenary to get that 3rd place, or at least I think they'll be into that 3rd place game conversation at War Memorial. The biggest question is, do they have enough of a veteran roster to produce an upset against one of those teams and to do what's expected of them now? Like I've got them in the expected to beat Leon and Centenary category. Can they do that? I am a believer in Tony Joe White, always have been, always will be. 4th, I have Centenary. Byron Dawson enters his 5th year. He's 5-14 there, hired in 2022 to rebuild their football program. And again, this is from the start. It's been very difficult. 5-14 in varsity competition. They did play a club schedule, kind of like what Schreiner did last year, before returning to NCAA competition. So those club results are not included in the overall record. This is the 3rd varsity season. And I think you're going to see another step forward. You're only going to get – the depth is only going to get better. It takes time. It's going to take a little more time, in my opinion, for the Gents to get that up there. And they were winless, but they're a lot more competitive than it seems. And I think this year they're going to find a way in conference to pull out one of those games and get one of those wins in conference this year. They're going to be experienced, a little more experienced. The schedule has home games against Leon and some other manageable opponents. Their October 31st game, Halloween, that's the game against Leon. That could determine the 4th seed for the championship weekend. And if you don't get that 4th seed, where are they going to be? 5th? Then they play earlier. You want that 4th. That gives you a puncher shot. Anytime you play out there, you've got a chance. Biggest question, can they turn those close losses into some wins as their first full recruiting class starts to gain that experience and growth? I still think it's going to take a few recruiting classes, a few years to fully build the depth needed to compete at the top. But this year, you're just looking for that other step forward. Take another step forward. Get a couple of conference wins. That's a great start. 5th, I've got Leon. Chris Douglas, 7th year, 71 and 120 overall in his career, 10-42 at Leon. They did improve last year. They won one more game. They won 2 games last year compared to 1 the year before. But the Scots still struggle. They struggle on offense. They struggle to move the ball. They had fewer than 283 yards per game last year against the SCAC opponents, and their lone conference victory was against Centenary, who I think now takes that step above them this year. They do have some experience on offense, need to become more efficient and explosive. The problem they have is they play TLU twice. They also play Austin College, Centenary, and Hendrix. They host TLU and Hendrix. That's not good for them as far as trying to get some wins. But October 31st, that game, again, like I mentioned here when I talked about the Gents and Centenary, that's going to be the game to see. Can they improve enough offensively to avoid depending on the defense to win every game that is within reach? That's the question. Now, I have Gallaudet 6th, and they're going to be MPI seeded. I still have them there. This is the second year for Stephon LaFour as the head coach. He's 1-8 there. He was a successful high school coach at Christian Academy of Louisville and Parkview Baptist. That is not included in his overall record. Gallaudet's the most difficult team right now to predict. And that's because they're not going to play a regular SCAC schedule. It's about their NPI ranking before the November 14th championship games at War Memorial. It's going to be tough. They faced a demanding Old Dominion Athletic Conference schedule last year, and they allowed at least 38 points in 7 of their games. This year's schedule is significantly different. They play 6 NCAA varsity opponents and 3 club programs before they travel to Little Rock. The weaker schedule could produce a better overall record, but it's those NCAA games that's going to put where they go into the power index. And those club games are not providing any help for the Bison. Biggest question, will Gallaudet's unconventional schedule generate a strong enough NPI for them to avoid the number 6 seed? With the club teams on there and so few teams against NCAA, I don't see it happening for Gallaudet. So, SCAC Championship Weekend, 5th place game. I've got Leon beating Gallaudet. 3rd place, Austin College over Centenary. And championship game, if you can't guess, I've got Texas Lutheran over Hendrix. I think TLU puts it together this year. They finish the job. They stay focused. They stay focused on that. You know, it's easy the success is a poison a lot of times. We talk about that because you've got to reset and go back to what got you that success each time. And each time you have success, you want to dwell in that success a little longer rather than get back to what got you there. You can't do that. Each day you wake up, you've got to get back to the schedule, to the work, to earn the victories those days. I think Texas Lutheran does that this year. They are my predicted champion. I think they've got enough returning experience on offense. I think they've got the defensive talent, and they've got the scheduling advantages. But that game being in Little Rock, if it is Hendrix, that could equal some help for the Warriors as well. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. Hey, we got a lot of other non-FBS news going on. Southwestern football, the Pirates are going to return to campus for the first time since 1950. They got a lot of donations, generous donations from their alums and faithful, and they have a brand new multi-purpose sports complex that's making progress and expected to open later this year. They even give a date in their press release. It's supposed to have a capacity of about 1,620 fans. The MPSC, as it's being referred to, will feature 3 pavilions holding space for special events. They're going to have field-level viewing experiences. It could be things like the tents, like you see at a lot of these FCS schools. The MPSC is going to host football, lacrosse games, community events, graduations, intramural sports, tournaments, all kinds of things. It's something that can be used by everyone there. It's going to be located on campus below the baseball and tennis complexes across from the varsity field, just above the track. If you know about Southwestern and Georgetown, you know where those things are if you're familiar with the campus. Now, when is football going to actually return to campus? Well, right now, the hope and the focus and the goal and the date is homecoming. They want their homecoming football game October 24th at noon to be the home opener. Now, that is dependent upon construction and weather, and we know God bless Texas and South Texas and the Hill Country that have just gotten hammered once again by torrential rains for the second year in a row. Absolutely horrendous. So hopefully they can stay on a schedule, get that done October 24th at noon. But their first 2 home games will be back at Georgetown ISD Athletic Complex, where they have played their home games here since reinstating football, I believe, or at least for a few years. I know that. Their final 3 home games, assuming construction stays on course, will be played on campus. Big happen. That's big for Southwestern, and that's something that's been in the works for a couple of years, and I'm glad to see that they are close to the finish line on that. Some other big non-FBS news, something that I had missed when I was on the break, but UIW has a new athletic director, an interim athletic director, Dr. Richard Duran, who did a tremendous job there at UIW, is now going to be the AD at Northern Colorado. This is a big move. Richard Duran is the one who is mainly given credit and largely responsible for how the football program has done, which means he's hired those coaches that built it up. He's hired these guys, the G.J. Kinneys, the Clint Killos. New athletic director. How's that emphasis? Does it remain on football? Is this a turning point for UIW? Because we all know finances matter a lot. And we don't know UIW finances because they're a private school. So they don't have to give out that public information. J.R. Pulido was named interim AD, and Sal Cervantes was named interim deputy athletic director. So they got 2 guys to take it over. I personally hope that they have that they keep that focus on football. It's hard in San Antonio. UIW, it's a beautiful campus. We talk about it all the time. So hard to get people there. For what reason, I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully these new Pulido and Cervantes, hopefully the new administration can keep things going for UIW. Some really good news following the MLB draft. Former Angelo State pitcher Dax Dathe signed a free agent contract with the Toronto Blue Jays. In his 2 years, he made 33 appearances, 26 starts, and had an 18-5 record for the Rams. He logged 157 2/3 innings with a 4.0 ERA, struck out 208 batters, and held opponents to a 244 batting average. His time with the Rams, he was a 2-time All-Star Lone Conference selection, All-South Central Region selection, and helped lead the Rams to their South Central Regional Championship, as well as the Lone Star Conference regular season and tournament titles. And then last year, he went to LSU. See, this is how you do it. This is how you have to do it in today's day and age. Dax is one of those guys. He was lost. He was at a couple different schools. And then I think he started at Texas Tech, and then he went to a junior college. Angelo State picked him up, gave him what he needed, gave him the support he needed, the training and everything that he needed. And then he did really well for them for 2 years. Then he goes to LSU last year. Go do that. That's the model now. If you want to be successful at a lot of non-FBS sports, you've got to be willing to develop them so that they do leave, and then celebrate that. Because when you celebrate that, other recruits watch it, and they're going to want to come be a part of that as well. It's just the fact of college athletics in today's world. He got 12 appearances for LSU this past season, so congrats to Dax Dathe. Some other big news that has come out recently here. Austin College is constructing the Foster Hyde Athletic Center. It's going to be an 8,200 square foot facility, weights, indoor turf for conditioning, batting cages, state-of-the-art training equipment, office space, and it's supposed to be complete in spring of 2027. Funding was provided by alumni, and it did not click on there. That's fine. Mike Foster and Mr. Hyde. Let me get that up. For some reason, my script did not fully get over it. And of course, I didn't watch it. I didn't look at it. Why? Because I'm human. I made a human mistake there. So now you listen to me getting caught up. All right. Complete in spring 2027, alumni Mike Foster and Blake Hyde were largely responsible for the funding for this. This is outstanding. This is what Austin College needs. They're a school that's trying to improve, especially with their athletics and their athletic facilities. They've been out on the recruiting trail, summer tournaments and stuff hard. I know this. Again, I mentioned how much I'm a fan of Tony Joe White. I think this is exactly what is needed for this school, for all their athletic programs. Really happy to see that happening. Remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about Texas Southern. I think last week before, we talked about Texas Southern, how they didn't have a home for football because of conflicts with the Houston Dynamo at Shell Energy Stadium, where they've been playing their home games. They released their schedule, full schedule with locations this last week, and they will play most of their home games at Thorne High School Stadium. Not ideal. Really not something you can do about it. Not ideal. Hopefully they got some money out of the Dynamo for having to not be able to play at Shell Energy. But their homecoming game, I'm really interested in. They're playing against Southern in homecoming, and they're having that in Reliant Stadium. If you know anything about HBCU homecomings, you know it can get packed. And let me tell you something. When you're in Houston, you're at Reliant Stadium, that's not far for Southern to travel, and they will travel. And Texas Southern obviously will show up because it's their homecoming. That could be one of the most fun games of the year. If you're in that Houston area, I cannot recommend enough getting over there and catching that game at Reliant Stadium in October, I believe it is. I don't have the date in front of me. Couple of things real quick before we get out of here and close the show. I want to talk for a second about the World Cup final. Congratulations to Spain. I picked Argentina. You should have bet for Spain to win, then you would make money. If you go against my picks, you usually do win. That's how it goes. That's just the rule. My problem wasn't that Argentina lost. It was their response, especially Paredes. Like, the guy got a yellow for a completely unnecessary shove of a player during the play of game. And then when it was over, he didn't respond well to the loss. Look, how you respond when things are bad, it tells a lot about your character. And what we found out was that his character needs some work. Most of us do, but he truly does. You don't go yelling at a player. You get off the field. You lost. I know it hurts. Get off the field. Don't make a show and don't cause a scene out there on the field. Be respectful. It's the least you can do. And it really did not work well for him, and it didn't look good. It wasn't a good way to end the World Cup. A World Cup that I thought really did well here in the United States. I thought the United States did a fantastic job of hosting, and I know there's questions about future World Cups, what might happen. We could have it back here on our shores soon. The one thing that the United States offers that a lot of other countries don't offer with this, we already have the stadiums. We didn't have to build stadiums just for an event that happens once every 4 years, and then they're gone, and you don't know when they're coming back. That's a big advantage on this. And as the economy is going down, some of these people are looking at this going, is it really worth it? Well, for the United States, it was. For other countries like Qatar, where it was 4 years ago, maybe it's not. You tear those down, you've totally wasted anything you got out of that. And I can't believe that you made enough from the different people coming in and stuff. But great job by the USA in that one. I also want to talk about the Tour de France. It took a big turn. Big turn yesterday. Today is a rest day. They are not racing today. But Jonas Vingegaard, who was in second place, two-time tour champion in previous years, he crashed and was forced to abandon the tour. His arm was in a sling as he entered the medical van. And that has opened up a whole realm of possibilities for the podium. Tadej Pogacar, he's the champion. He's going to win this thing, and he only added to his lead after that again. But the race for the podium now has two open spots. See, Jonas was in there. in my opinion. I had him in there. Most pundits did. Now there's 2 open spots. And Remco Evenepoel right now is in second place, 5 minutes behind Dathe. That's why you're not making up 5 minutes on Dathe with his team. Isaac Del Toro, same team as Dathe, 58 seconds behind Evenepoel. And he went with Dathe. And if they do it that way, you could end up seeing 2 UAE teammates on the final podium. But some other people to watch for. Paul Sykes is 25 seconds from Del Toro in third. Florian Lipovitz is 50 seconds from Del Toro. Juan Ayuso, he's had a really good tour. He's a minute and a half back. Those are times that can be made up, especially as they enter these individual time trial. Starts tomorrow, and then they close with 2 days in the Alps. You're going to see there's a sprint stage, what they call a flat stage, but it's got like a Cat 3 in it. This last week is going to be just hellacious. Even the ceremonial trip into Paris is not going to be as ceremonial. There's some things that could really make that final day some fun too, outside of the pomp and circumstance of standing along the Champs-Élysées and watching riders go around multiple times. One other name to watch, and look, he's 5 minutes, 21 seconds behind Del Toro, but this guy put on a show this last week and could really, if he really gets out, he's got the ability to do it. That's Tom Pidcock. I think Tom Pidcock is another name to watch. A couple other things before we end this edition of Cory Hogue Sports. I got a comment. Mike Reuschenberg watching on Facebook. Dathe was riding for Del Toro yesterday, trying to get his teammate on the podium. I don't doubt it. Look, Dathe is an awesome guy. Like he was not happy that Jonas went down. He did not. He was right behind it too, and somehow he avoided crash. He always tends to avoid those crashes. But I really think he loves that competition. He thrives for it, and he is and just an incredible bike racer. A really big fan of Dathe. We are watching one of the best, if not the greatest of all time on a bicycle right now. He's doing things that have never been done before. And they do this thing. Listen, this whole tour has been done at speeds that they haven't seen very often, if at all. These guys are flying. It has been a lot of fun to watch just what they're able to do on those bikes day after day after day. But hey, what did the drug officials do? Are the drug officials the reason why Jonas, I'm not going to say the reason why, did what the drug officials did the night before, did that play a role in Jonas's crash? I really think it could have. For those who don't know, what happened was at 2 a.m., now yesterday's stage, Sunday stage, and Saturday stage were both mountain stages. In between these mountain stages, when these guys are trying to recover, and they show stats on there all the time from Whoop, they have the recovery percentage and how important all that is, which part of that is getting good sleep. Well, you can't get good sleep when the drug people, the UCI, is drug testing at 2 a.m. They went and woke Jonas up at 2 a.m., middle of the night, to take a drug test. They woke Dathe up at 5 a.m. Dathe is he said he normally doesn't go to sleep late, and he sleeps in. He only got 4 hours sleep. I'm sure Jonas didn't get any better. He was complaining about it too. That should not happen. Not that you can't drug test them. Don't do it in the middle of the mountain stages. Now you're playing with what's happening in the tour. It's not fair. That does not help. And it could have led to, if you're tired on that bike and you're racing and you're doing all this that you have been and you're on mountain stages, your concentration can lapse a little bit. And on that corner where Jonas went down and got hurt, did it play a role? I don't know. But it shouldn't happen that way. Shouldn't even be a part of that conversation. Schedule those better. Think that through. For the sake of the competition, please think that through. A couple other things. Did you see Josh Kerr from Scotland? He broke the 1 mile record by 3 whole seconds. He ran a 342.66, averaged 16.2 miles per hour. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. 16.2 miles per hour is faster than pretty much any treadmill will allow you to go at max speed. They max out typically at 12 to 14 miles per hour. This 1 mile record stood for 27 years. For him to break this was just incredible. And now the 1500s could be in danger here soon as well from a couple of people. To put that out, that mile in 100 meters, he ran each 100 in at 13.8 seconds. God, that is flying. That is flying. And that's a lot of fun. One last thing here. I know World Cup just ended. Wimbledon's done. Tour de France is entering its final week. What in the world are we going to watch? Guys, the Little League World Series is coming soon. The Southwest Regional Tournament is starting August the 6th, and the two teams from Texas are already booked their spots to Waco for the Southwest Regional Tournament. Texas East will be represented by Lamar Little League, Texas West by Bernie Little League. Those two are usually pretty common there. And usually Texas East and Texas West are fighting for that regional title at the end of the week, and they get to play each other. First game. They opened the Southwest Regional 10 a.m. August 6th in Waco against each other. Could be on ESPN Plus. I'll find that out before August 6th comes. But, hey, Little League World Series, that's a fun one. I'll be keeping track of that and watching it. The Little League World Series in Williamsport starts August 19th and runs through the first couple weekends of football. That is all. That is all I have today. Thank you so much to everyone watching, whether you found us on YouTube, Substack, or Facebook. I really greatly appreciate it. Plan is to be back Wednesday. If not, I'll put out some messages to try to get it out there. So follow me, Cory Hogue Sports, on all the social medias. Find it there and check out my Substack. Until next time, stay blessed.
Clear, sharp and bold, covering every team, every season, every story worth being told. The Cory Hogue Sports Show, the Cory Hogue Sports Show. Big stories and real conversations, bring the truth.